It's never gonna feel right, is it? I don't think it's ever gonna feel right. I keep waiting on it to feel right. Should have ironed this. Just start already. Hi, welcome to Persevere anyway. My name is Rachelle. This video has taken 7 years to make and have not vlogged in a while. But this is me for the day. Go out with my guy. We are gonna go to C&S Oyster House and get some grub because we have not had date night in a while because I've been sick. Okay, they look pretty done now to me. Nothing spectacular about the background. I'm at Nobu Hotel in Las Vegas. Nothing spectacular about my look or appearance. I just have let fear control and rule over me. That stopped me from doing it. I have written a script out so many times of what I wanted to say, and now I'm drawing a blank. My channel will cover home renovation, Throwback Thursday, Throwback Tuesday series.
And action. All right.
All right, go ahead, say hi. Don't let go. You know, I'm no Picasso. I own 2 trucks, so I also work on my own truck sometimes. I have vlogs of me spray painting the trucks, oil changes. I have all kind of vlogs. I'm going to do my best to showcase just a little bit of who I am. Now, I had purchased a few bottles of Ace of Spade that were personalized with the channel's logo. Persevere Nation, you can see that logo. My brand, here we go, pop them bottles. Personality. It feels so gross. Ah, how do you ever get used to that feeling? Jalapeno and risotto. A wing away, a wing away, a wing away, a wing away. In the jungle, the mighty jungle. My quirks.
Persevere. Persevere. Persevere.
I stack it like Tetris. Real good, real plugs and connections. Hey you guys.
Right. See the bottom and the back of her shoes? Uh-oh.
That's real life.
Edit.
No, that's blooper.
Bloopers.
My ups and downs, my highs and lows. All of us have persevered through something. If you are alive in 2024, you've persevered. 2020 was L for all of us. My channel will cover makeup. I'm gonna take my palette, this spray, hair. What you doing?
We are in the RV.
Don't.
And Rachelle would like to have her hair cut off. So she's done one side. And there's the other side.
Home renovations, I can be your inspiration. Learn to make up when I wake up. Persevere anyways, that's the motto of my life. Persevere anyways.
Finished product. Don't look at them bleach knots. I just got the wig yesterday and I'm here for a wedding. See how this one's sagging? But, you know, if you don't say nothing. Probably more of the proper way to do this. I'm not a makeup expert. I suck at this stuff. I watch the videos and learn myself. And I'll come back with this one down here. We're learning. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. Beauty a little bit. Okay, we are now dressed. This, like I said, garment does not compress as good as the other companies. But it still does a good job. That's debatable. Will include makeup, hair, skincare, because got acne on my face now. I'm gonna start getting the skin better together. But the trip did. It reset and restarted and refueled and resparked. You know, keep going, a bunch of stuff in me. And like I came back, I registered for school. I'm more appreciative of where I live again. I needed that reset.
see what he's saying. He was talking about his playlist. Remember, this was literally a PG-17 date. And he threw the dart. And so I'm looking at the boy on my stupid butt because I'm close to the dartboard. Like the dartboard is here and I'm over here. But he made a little face with his eyes first before he threw it and was smiling. And he threw the dart and it went in my head. But I'm looking at the dartboard. I'm like, where'd the dart go? And he's screaming. My aunt starts screaming. My auntie Cecilia. And I'm still looking for the dart because it's my turn next. They said it was like a couple centimeters from something it had. My aunt comes trying to pull it out. It would not come out of my head. So I had to have surgery and have it surgically removed out of my head, y'all. That was, yeah, so I still have the scar on this side of my head. I want to experience a glow up, not just financially, emotionally, definitely spiritually.
Persevere. Persevere anyways, that's the motto of my life. Persevere anyway.
I also have an RV that I live in full time. I've lived in it full time for 3 years. Next month going into my 4th year. It's a 2021 378 FL. It's 44 feet long. It has 3 couches, an upstairs bedroom, a downstairs bedroom, a kitchen island, 4-drawer fridge. I love it. It's at least 500 square feet or more. My favorite food is probably Chilean sea bass and then ribeye. I also enjoy cooking. I like to do meal prep. Welcome back. We made some curry jackfruit chicken or goat or pork and it looks so good. OMG. And vegan meals, so you will see some of that on my channel as well, and good food. So when we are traveling, and we will go by boat.
For 11th of all, you want the hijab and everything to cover you up anyway from the sun. It's too hot.
I was at sea for 27 days. So I'm just happy to have more space. I got space. It feels good to just look at all this space. I have space. We are staying the night at the palace. Stay tuned for more. By plane. The line shouldn't be too bad. Put you in first class, up in the sky. Champagne. I didn't get any champagne yet. Hi. Living my life. Things that make traveling and my life easier. Car. I've done car camping vlogs twice. Flipped my bed. It's way bigger this way. I don't need all this space, but if I wanted to push this down more, I could. This is like a full-size bed now versus the other way is a twin. Air on for now. It's 94 outside. Aluminum foil kind insulation stuff that we cut there. I have the mesh here because I'll probably let the windows down at some point at night. I have a truck camper. I just want to share my journey with you. Life is not perfect. I had this whole plan on how I was going to bring my first video to YouTube's platform, and something would always come up, get in the way, happen. I've had a gazillion delays and excuses on why I could not launch my YouTube channel, and I'm hoping this video will help wash that away. This channel will also cover my weight journey. Because I have yo-yoed and lost weight and gained weight, gyms, swim, clothes and girdles, fajas, we're gonna cover it all. Dun, dun, dun.
The dreaded scale.
That's 215.
Okay, this is the day before the procedure.
That's my current weight. He's gonna take a look at all my fat. And he said he could do the etching. That just gonna be looking good as such. So stay tuned. Thanks for being honest.
All right, we are now recording.
My fat. So I'm gonna put on a garment. That's what he's gonna get. And then, oh, I need to get him to let me see. I got these big old shoes on.
Let me videotape that.
You can.
Oh, I'm surprised. Okay. Let's see what it say.
All right. That's what it say.
You already know.
These arms don't hurt, but I know it's gonna leave lines. Can't twerk yet. Stay tuned for more. Separate my friends and family a little bit.
Persevere. This world is such a beautiful place, a feeling no one can replace. Going on dates, losing weight, woman power, creating and trying. Working on my truck, driving with my heels, cooking my delicious vegan meals. Yeah. Home renovations, I can be your inspiration. Learn to make up when I wake up.
Keep a lot of that private. Me going on dates is a part of the journey. It's a part of life. And so I won't show the date's face. There is no ring. I still will bring you along the journey sometime. Or when I am dating someone and we go to tropical islands or whatever, I want to be able to bring you guys along with me. Not all the time. I won't overshare, but just the date part. Not, oh, he got on my nerves because he did this. He did that. I'm going to do my best to not be messy and be blabbing all my business. I do like NDA life. So if you came over from Instagram, welcome. I have been doing Instagram filming over there for the past year. I was getting my feet wet.
Persevere.
And just the ultimate goal has been YouTube. For 7 years, it's been all content, holding the cameras this way instead of that way. But the past year, I changed things up. Instagram, you could do shorter videos over there, 15 minutes or so. So that got me a little bit of experience. And now I feel like I'm ready here. Most of my videos here will be between 15 minutes to 59 minutes. So I will try to keep them all under or right at an hour. 21 to 30 minutes once I become a pro. In the beginning, I don't want to break up a bunch of scenes. So I will just bring it all as one experience, and it may be in a longer format. I'll try to learn how to do the timestamps so that you guys know if you want to fast forward through a video. I don't know why I have been so nervous to film this video. So how am I going to inspire anybody? Who would want to watch me? Because that was my dad's power of attorney. And I tried to pass the baton to a sister and asked her to take care of my dad's financial things so that I could close on the house here. And she stripped everything from him, and I won't say just her. It was actually a cousin who changed the will. And he knew that my dad heard every sibling's name, but he knew that he was leaving all of the daddy's contents to my sister because him and I had had a fight. So I get into it with my cousin. He changes my dad's will. My dad hears every single kid's name, all 11 of us, right? 17, 13 of us. He hears all of us mentioned with a tube in his mouth. My cousin had threatened me, telling me that I could not be present. So I left to keep the peace, not knowing I was leaving for them to change the will. I don't care about what it did to them removing everything from me, but I hate what they did to my siblings. Now, I did have proof of what this cousin did to my siblings, what he did that day at the signing. I have proof of all this, right? I could have showed my siblings. I could have just at least let them know Daddy does love you, which is all I really wanted them to know. Daddy loved you equally. He left, even if it was $500,000 worth of stuff, $1 million worth of stuff, or a pile of dirt. He left each of us a pile of dirt equally. That's what he thought he was doing. But my cousin changed the will. They have the micro SD cards that has the last 5 months of my dad's life on it. The vlogs, the 2 years worth of vlogs that were stolen. It has the BS that my cousin did to my siblings, because I don't care about what he did to me, but I care about what he did to my siblings. I have a brother who hurts because he feels like daddy didn't love him when daddy did love him, and I had proof of this, and I can't share and show that proof because some people stole my truck for a joyride and some chop shop money, right? And they completely changed the course of my life forever. I didn't even explain what made him die. So he was in the hospital for this part of his finger, just to that first line on your finger. That's what he died from, basically. He didn't die from that. He went into the hospital for an infection. The infection spread to here, and then they decided to cut off the whole hand. That's something you can still live with, boo. You can still live without a hand. But just like I just described all the L's that happened to me this morning and all day today, that can just make you say, I give up. He had that too. My brother, who lives in California, had promised my dad he was going to come out to see him for Christmas. My brother felt like my daddy was going to die, so I'll just wait and come to the funeral. So for my dad, that was probably his first L, because an important person for him. Nobody went to go see him for New Year's. My dad died 3 days after New Year's. Okay. So nobody came to see him, and you need moral support. You need mental support. I have attempted to a couple times before. I would get emotional because I have to acknowledge my dad passing and the footage, those 5 months, his last 5 months, that footage being stolen when my F-350 diesel truck was stolen in 2020. So those thieves have actively been still using my credit, trying to get loans in my name.
Thank you so much. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
What will going to happen? Compromise. You who can ask it to directly.
Who the merchant is, ma'am. I don't know who they set up loans with because I'm unable to authenticate myself because this stuff doesn't apply to me. I don't even understand. This is so stressful. Now I think they go to buy here, pay here lots. But getting my identity back has been, I won't call it a nightmare, but in 2020 it was definitely a nightmare. I use LifeLock now. They aren't very helpful as of right now, but I don't want this to be negative. Well, the first one has to have some negativity because that's why it's been delayed. 2019, September 2019, I was selling my house. I was going to school for my last semester business degree. It was just an associate's at the time. I got a call that my dad had not made it to dialysis. I had never gotten a call from them. I knew I had been his power of attorney since I was 17, but I had never got a call from them. So I'm like, you need to call the police right now. Something's wrong. If he's not there, something's wrong. Send police to his house right now. And they were like, well, we can't do that. It has to be a family member. So I'm packing as I'm on the phone with them because I know there's an emergency. I'm knowing something is wrong. And I also called my Uncle Ed. He lives like 2 blocks from my dad's house. I'm like, Uncle Ed, I need you to go to my daddy's house right now. Something is wrong. He gets over there. The door's locked. He obviously can't get in. I tell him to call police. I call my brother, Chad. He goes by. They're all trying to get in. The police go in and they don't let my dad, or I don't even think my brother, in at first. So in that moment, I'm fearing the worst, but I'm packing. I called a sister who lived in Georgia, and I'm like, hey, something's wrong with daddy. He's not picking up. I don't know. That 15 minutes or 10 minutes waiting on my uncle to alert me what was going on was the most stressful of my life, probably. My sister was like, I'm going to have to check. I'll call you back. I'm like, I'm going to give you an hour, and then I'm getting on the road. An 8-hour drive from St. Louis to Georgia. I waited the whole 45 minutes on her, and I loaded up and I was going, and she called and was like she couldn't go. So I hop on the road. But before I get ready to leave, they tell me that I still go, but that Daddy had fell out of his wheelchair. He was pinned, the wheelchair, he was kind of pinned down between the door frame and I think the TV stand or something. He didn't want to go to the hospital. And I was like, Daddy, I need you to go, please. And he was like, I don't want to. I was like, please just go for me. I'm on my way. He was like, okay. So he went to the hospital, and now I'm still regretting if that was the right decision. If not, I still got 5 months with him. Those last 4.5 months of his life with him. There's so much I don't know what to say in this first vlog. So I may have to have some of this be a separate video, because it is a sensitive subject and I don't want to leave parts out, because I only want to have to really tell the story once. I don't want to have to keep reliving it. I want to be able to say goodbye to my dad. But I own a 3-bedroom house in Colorado, and I have never spent the night in the house. I have spent the night in the RV next to the house. The house is nice and big enough. I mean, it needs more storage. But I lost my dad when I went to go see that house. I was only to be gone for 4 days. I think he died on day 2. That first night, he got into it with a nurse. I was still on 70. I could have turned around. How long of a drive is it? 13 hours? I think I was about 7 hours into the drive, 7, 8 hours. My mom called and said, your daddy is being stubborn. I was like, what's wrong? What happened? Let me talk to him. And he didn't want to talk, I think. I don't remember if I talked to him or not. I don't remember. And he told the nurse he wanted Cheerios. And she told him she was a floating nurse, which just means, I think, goes from floor to floor or location to location. And she didn't know they had Cheerios on their floor. And he wanted Cheerios in the middle of the night, and I'm used to, they have a little snack area on that floor where they keep Rice Krispie treats and juices and stuff stocked with ice, with an ice machine. And I also had some in his cabinet right by the TV on the right side. And so I'm gonna sum this part up. But basically, she told him, sir, the cafeteria is closed. You're gonna have to wait till the morning. He still said it again. And to sum it up, he basically said, okay, fine, let me die. And not that day, but I think it was the next morning. They proceeded to take the equipment out of the room. My sister went up there so he could have someone by his side. And they basically pulled the plug and let him die. Now, my dad died from depression. Did he have COVID or something before we knew it was COVID? This was January 2020. Could he have possibly had COVID? Absolutely. It was something respiratory, and the doctors couldn't figure it out at the time. He had to be on like a respirator. It was this little mask to just help give him some oxygen. And then oxygen through his nose, and he didn't like that either. He was stubborn. But he was counting on me to help him live. And I kept leaving to try to buy him and my mom a house. Me, him, and mommy a house. I had already sold my house in Georgia. He didn't want me to do that either. But I had that house on the market for a couple years. Man, this video may get long. I had that house on the market since like 2017, May 2017. And that was the first time he coded. He asked me to wait to sell the house. And I told him he needed to make somebody else power of attorney. I couldn't do it. I needed to focus on being there for him, physically in person. And I needed to focus on getting me, mommy, and him a house. Now, my parents were not together. My mom is married to somebody else. And we had never lived together, but this was going to be an experience for us. I was going to get to take care of him. He was going to come with his shenanigans. And mama was going to stop us from fussing and fighting when we had our little quarrels. I was just trying to leave to get the house. to get a house with a wheelchair ramp or something for him. Didn't know I was going to need that same house later on for my little brother. Let's go back to my truck and pause there with Dad for a moment. When my truck got stolen in February, the month after he died, of 2022, that was probably the worst part for me. A normal person getting their belongings taken means nothing. For me, it changed my entire life, my career. They have 2 years worth of vlogs of my most vulnerable moments. The boogers on my nose, crying over an ex, snotty nose face, no wig on, looking a hot mess. I mean, way worse than right now. And they had admitted their crimes of being in a gang. I had hired a private investigator. He found them the same day. I had been searching for months and couldn't find these people. Private investigator found them the exact same day. To the point I was like, how did he find them so fast? But they were admitting the crime and date timestamps and everything on their Facebook pages, open to the public. Every girl and guy except for one, and it was a gang. So some people, like the girl admitted to going, she was like, I need somebody to pick me up from the pawn shop. Literally right when like 30 minutes after she had even posted. I even have pictures of all of this. I screenshot it later. She posted to a guy, can somebody pick me up? Or can you come over here to where my truck was? He was the one who chopped it up. I won't say their names. And then one of their crew members admitted publicly that he was someone. And then the next day, he was like, yeah, I got him. Or something, I can't remember. The next day, he posts the news report showing the person him. That same person also has several videos or posts. That person also has several posts stating if you can't break in a car in under 60 seconds or 2 minutes or something like that. So and they had lots of pictures with pew-pews. I can't even say the S word, the B word, the H word. I can't say no words on these platforms, but Facebook allowed them to have pictures posted with thing in several of their posts. Now this was 2020. I'm like, well, they have vlogs showing my house. I got to think about me, Mom, and Myron's safety. I can't still go do the same career. I can't be local city council, Senate. I used to live my life very squeaky clean, that I could go into any profession I want. After that, I was like, F the world. I was like, F it all. I no longer cared. I became very numb that year. 2020, even dating. I remember dating 2 guys at one time. One of them got my name tattooed on him. The other one would call me an H because he knew I was dating him and another person. He wanted to be in a relationship. And I was like, not in 2020. I don't want anything good to come from this year. Now, if you want to date me in 2021, we could date in 2021. But I'm not going to call someone my boyfriend in 2020. I lost my dad. My truck got stolen. My whole life changed. I also was working with Beezer Homes, like temping. And I sold 2 homes. And so the goal, I had a company and I had a dad and son team in Colorado. Before I even moved there, they offered me a job. When they were showing me houses, they offered me a job. And to be a real estate agent with their team. Now I'm a young thing working in this small town. It would have been great. I think I would have been a hot ticket. Okay, the minority vote, I had it. But then after that happened, I thought about, okay, if you actually do make it and you become successful, you can't have your face on billboards, business cards, because you're in the same city or you're in the same state as the people who stole your identity and are actively using it. They had my state ID, my passport, my social security card, W-2, everything you need to buy a house. They had and were showing they were using it. All of it was left in a book bag because I had sold my house in Georgia and I was living at Airbnbs and hotels or at the hospital with my dad. That's what I was doing. Hospital when I was in St. Louis. And I would stay with my dad 7 days a week because back then you could still stay in hospitals. I don't know how much of this I'm going to share, but I'm going to film it. Persevere. So it's been a long journey, basically. 2020 was the worst of the years, and it has gotten better. At the time after they stole it and were showing they were using other things in that book bag, I was like, I'm not going to continue with the YouTube page. They have 2 years worth of vlogs. They could try to blackmail me at any minute. Now I'll show you all this stuff myself. I cry, I don't care. If I got boogers, so what? I'm not gonna wait and let some people try to come blackmail me down the line or expose something I said or did or whatever. I don't care. I'm persevering anyway. Back then, the channel's name was Sometimes Vegan. I had the website, I had t-shirts, I was ready. I was sometimes vegan. I would eat raw vegan. I had mixed chicken with mac and cheese and vegan mac and cheese, fried chicken and vegan mac and cheese. And that was my deal, my meal. Or it with like some greens and sweet potatoes. I've also been selective with my brand because I do see myself as a brand already. I mean, for me, this has been a long journey, 7 years. 7 years of holding a camera up to my face like this, in front of people, in front of strangers. But I've still been afraid until now. If you are seeing this, that means I am one step closer to not being afraid. I struggle and suffer with depression, anxiety. I'm an introvert, so I like to be alone a lot, where I can do people in small doses. I still am my bubbly self when I'm with them, and then I just need to go to the room and retreat for like a couple days. And that's something I'm working on. I do go to therapy. I go to therapy online now because I had two therapists who were like stalking my Instagram page, and they would report things in the group therapy that they learned from my Instagram page, unethical. Got to buy the house that I have still never spent the night in. But luckily I have been working with my loan officer and my agent since November. So this is now February. They already knew me. They had already approved me and pulled my credit. I remember my credit score at the time was 741. Now it's actually higher. Once the identity stuff, I'm steady getting dings that I'm applying for these loans. And I would try to contact the companies and be like, don't approve this loan, please. And they'd be like, well, you need to send us your social security card, your driver's license. And I'm like, and I'm trying to explain to the company like that the thieves have this stuff. They would not listen to me. And social security, well, we can mail it to your house. I'm like, I don't own that house anymore. They said, well, you can, there was nothing they could do. They did not help me either. Social security did not help me. So it was a stressful time. I couldn't get another driver's license because I didn't own the house anymore. They needed an address and I didn't have one. I was living at a hospital, remember, with my dad. I only left his side to sell the house or when I'd go away for less than a week to view homes in Colorado. So that was all a very stressful time for me. But I made it out of it all of that storm. Got the truck back, I think 3 or 4 days later max. There was one girl who was involved with the truck being stolen. On her Facebook page, she was actually remorseful when the truck got picked up in her driveway. These people were we ain't gonna say that. In the beginning, I used to want justice and I wanted them to pay for their crimes. And I remember seeing one of the girls post the day it got stolen the day it got picked up, the time it got picked up from in front of her house, and she was like, God, if you just let me get out of this, I promise I won't do anything again. Most of them may have been on the straight and narrow for a while. I remember checking back a year later, one of them was back into his BS. He was back on the BS. Fast forward the next February, March. I think it was March. It was around my dad's birthday. Remember, he passed. And I'm riding with my ex, the one I told, if you wait until next year, we could be a couple. I did not plan to ever have these stories be a part of my first few videos, but I want to get the negative out the way so we can focus on positive going forward. We were going ice fishing. He wanted me to drive. I told him I didn't think and this was a blizzard before we knew it was forming as a blizzard. And I was like, my tires are bald. I don't want to take my truck. Why don't you drive? Now, everything happens for a reason. On the drive up, it's this road from where he lived. It was a very dangerous one way up a mountain road. One route for the cars coming up and down. Just one way. Most of the route, I think there were spots, I can't remember. My mom just recently took that route. She didn't know that was the same route that I almost died multiple times on. And I'm so grateful I didn't slide at all there. We got to the top of the mountain with my ball tires. And I was coming around a turn and I started sliding. Now, I used to live in St. Louis, Missouri, so I am familiar with ice. I lived in Georgia through those storms. I am used to dealing with ice and sliding. But my ex, I think, thought that I was not familiar with ice or sliding, and he grabbed the steering wheel in an attempt to help us stop sliding. Well, you over here grabbing the steering wheel that's over here while I'm driving. We rolled. My truck rolled with us in it. Thank God we rolled back upside up, right side back up. I don't know how you word it. The truck was basically totaled. On the drive back down, we had a tow company. One of his friends and his son was with us that took us down the hill in my truck. And his son was like, Dad rolls trucks stuff all the time. That was like his fourth roll. The trauma that I received, and you used to doing this. Why you to me? You're not supposed to put your hand on the steering wheel if someone else is driving. But and then last year, that ex passed, not from driving, from eating red meat. These steaks he used to wet age, dry age in his refrigerator for 120 days. He ate one of those. He ate one of those on his 45th birthday and had a heart attack and died. I also want to talk about myself, my flaws. I'm not perfect. I hate the perfectionist parts of me because they stop me from my blessings. They stop me from finishing and completing things. Like this video, I'm going to complain about I got to edit this and that and fix all of these things to where y'all may not see it. I hope you do. Or I'm going to feel like it's too long. It needs to be 15 minutes. I'm at 39 minutes right now. Or I need to add this clip, or I should show this. There's just so many excuses. I have so many things that I let control me. And I'm over it. And that I didn't have anything in my teeth. I kept having something on my lip. I didn't get to cover everything that I wanted to today. So some of it I will mention in the future. I also plan to start school again. Like I mentioned earlier, I dropped out. I was on day 5, I think, or something, 7. I'd have to look back when I got the call about Daddy. So even though that was last semester for that associate's degree, I stopped. My focus was my dad. 24/7 ICU, be there with him. He coded 3 or 4 times and kept having to be brought back to life. That is a whole story in itself. All of the stuff about and with my dad, and I don't want it to be everything that this video is about. So I will cover that one separately in more detail. We'll say it all one time and then that's it. It'll be done. But this one, I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about several key little blips on the map that has been my life. School, how was I raised? So the first 1st through 4th grade was one school. 5th grade was another school. 6th grade was a different school. 7th grade, 8th grade were different schools. 9th and 10th were the only times that I went to the same school. 11th grade was a different school. 12th was the same brand, but a different entity within that school. 4th grade to 12th grade, I went to different schools every year, just about, except for one time that I went to the same school. So my mind is used to change. My mom and little brother have lived in my house in Colorado for the past 4 years since his semi-truck accident. My mom and I have been taking care of my little brother since November 12th is when his accident was. I think I got there on the 27th of November. Nope, there before Thanksgiving. But my mom was with him the first few days, and I flew in and took over the remainder of the time we were there. Sensitive subject too, for many, many reasons. We did have a lot of moral support. His birth sister, Myron, is technically adopted. He's my little cousin. He's been with us, I think, since he was about 6 months old. He is now 26, and I'm so proud of him. He does have a severe DAI, which is diffusal axonal injury. So he has a severe TBI, a form of a traumatic brain injury. He had a collapsed lung, broken thigh, broken leg. He has a rod here, I think a rod here. He had like 20 broken bones in his foot, lots of scars and bruises. And the doctors had given up on him. His biological sister was listening to her colleague, her best friend, whom was a doctor, who told her, you know, we deal with patients like this all the time. The chance of recovery is not there. He has a severe DAI, not a low chance. He has a severe one. And the doctor in Kentucky, the hospital we were at in ICU, was telling us, the family, that his prognosis, my little brother's, Myron, prognosis, the most he would be able to do was move his hand involuntarily like this, because he was at like this for like a couple weeks. But Mama told me to fix that. We'll get into that in a minute. And he would blink. That was the life expectancy that they told us Myron would have. He'd be able to blink involuntarily and move his hand up and down involuntarily. And his sister was not happy with that. And she told me she did not want that for her brother. She was like, this is no quality of life for him, and I don't want that for him. So I'm not saying she was saying to pull the plug. I won't say that. But she did not want that quality of life for him. So I had a conversation with my mom. I had wrote a book the year before, a private book for family members only, about how to cure disease, how to cure things. I see all living organisms as just bugs, and you just got to find the right bug spray. That's the way I personally view disease, fungi, bacteria, all of it. You just need the right bug spray. So after everyone had seemingly, this is just my perspective, they will have different perspectives, had seemingly given up on him, and the doctors were kind of telling us to prepare the family, and I was the only one there. And I asked my mom, could I try something from the book? Could I try something natural? And she told me yes. And I have it in a text. This conversation was over text. So with me knowing he had metal in him, I did not want to try H2O2 as the well-known, you have to have food grade 3%. All those got to do a droplet with distilled water. All that stuff matters. But I didn't want to try that with him having metal in his body, even though I was the guinea pig, which will come up many times in my vlogs, because you can clean your body too much. We'll talk about it later. But for Myron, I didn't want him to have to go through the misery I went through. I relate that to the movie, the Mel Gibson movie, What Women Want. And in the beginning, it seemed so cool to be able to hear women's thoughts and what they want. And by the end, he was like, I'm going crazy. I don't want to hear all this stuff. I don't, just take it away from me. This gift, take it away. Well, that's kind of how it was for me when I cleansed myself too much in January 2019. I cleansed myself too much. In the beginning, it was cool to be able to feel a bug on this chair. Da-da-da-da-da. Couldn't see them, but I could feel them. And in the beginning, that was cool. After like 2 months, it was driving me crazy. I remember my mom smacking my arm one time when we were in the bathroom. And I was just like, what are you doing? Ouch. And she was like, you didn't feel that bug crawling on you? I was like, I thought it was inside. That's how crazy I had gotten. it was difficult dating. A poor man back then when I was dating. I'm glad I don't feel as many anymore. That's been 5 years or so ago. I digress. Let me get back to Myron. So I didn't want that for him. I didn't want him to come back and be crazy. Plus, I didn't want the metal inside of him to be rusting or corroding in any way. So I was like, let me not order H2O2. He's in a coma. He's a vegetable, is what they're telling us. The coma, his prognosis will not change. So I was like, let me look around this hospital room. Is there anything I can use? And there was something called Curad. I would ask the doctors, could I meet with a neurologist so that I could try to understand it a little bit? Now, I don't know the scientific-y things, like Beyonce say, I don't know algebra. I don't know the scientific-y things, but I know if you tell me something's a bug spray. So you got to find the right bug spray. Like Trump said, can we spray some Lysol in it? You just need the right stuff. Believe it or not, he was on to something. And so the hospital would never have the neurologist come meet with me to explain it. There was like, there's no change in his prognosis. So no, we can't have you meet with the neurologist. I kept asking for weeks. And then finally, I asked for like a supervisor and like some upper management in ICU. Finally, they let a neurologist come speak to me, but with the disclaimer, his prognosis hasn't changed and won't be changing. And so we're making an exception for you. So I asked the neurologist finally when he came. This whole time I've been filming with one earring. I asked for a supervisor, and the supervisor said, okay, we'll make an exception. But just so you know, going forward, we're not going to be there's no change in his prognosis. We can't have you, the neurologists have to go do other things. So the neurologist comes in, and so he pulls up his CT, I don't think the MRI, the CT, maybe the MRI too. He's like, now remember, he's saying things in scientific-y terms, doctor-y terms. He's like, this is a scan of your brother's brain. This is a scan of a normal, healthy brain. And he said, you see on this scan.
And what we're going to look at in this scan is like areas of white, because that's going to show us areas that may have been injured. Here you have like this little kind of just a little more white on this side than the other side, probably related to a contusion. Yeah. And that's where this part of the brain kind of slams into the hard part of your skull. And then this is also kind of an odd pattern for a young man your age.
You see all this, I think it was white or gray. I should have the video. I don't know if I'll be able to insert it. It's like basically you see all of this, and he was saying a whole bunch of words I didn't understand. And he said one word that I understood. He said, your brother basically has a bunch of lesions covering his entire skull. And I was like, lesions? He said lesions. And so I remember after he left, I was like, okay, thank you. That's all I needed. I recorded the conversation so if there was anything that could help in any way. I remember researching the word lesions. The definition inserted here, it says an area of abnormal or damaged tissue caused by injury, infection, or disease. So that last word I was holding on to, infection or disease. And we know it was caused by damage. But I was like, lesion, okay, I know that. That means bug. So I just got to find the right bug spray. Literally, I'm in ICU with him, and this is how my brain is working. Myra knows this story through and through. Not all the family knows. A couple, I think my aunt and maybe my cousin, which is his biological brother. We didn't tell everybody. But I was like, okay, I gotta find the right bug spray. Now, Myron was also on a stool softener. I know this may be TMI for some people, but he was on a stool softener, and I know that helped. But so each day they would come in and put Curad on his legs and all over his scars. He had scars all over. And so then I kind of started taking some of the Curad and putting it on his scalp directly. He had a lot of glass in his hair. This is Mama's hair. Each braid has lots of blood and kind of like dead skin in it. This little black thing. So each one You need 2 washcloths. His numbers are actually really good now that I'm rubbing in his head. When I was rubbing on that side, I'm staying away from here on. So we're going to leave that little bit because it still needs to heal. But you just take it and get off some of it.
This was a week, almost a month later. It was still glass in his hair, blood. They were not cleaning his hair. So I cleaned out and combed, because I think he had dreads and stuff, or twists. He had like twists, not dreads, but he had like twists. And so I think the hospital just didn't know what to do with that kind of hair texture, so they just left the blood and glass in there. So I do have videos of cleaning the glass and the blood out of his head weeks later, as he's on a ventilator and stuff with the tube down his throat in the coma. And I have to tell you guys, like, I'll do a whole separate video on Myron as well. So you hear from start to finish. I'll have him be there, mommy as well. So you know what happened during the car accident, and because he went into the hospital talking, and then the doctor was putting stitches, and then he went into a coma, and then he almost died. As he was getting stitches is when he began having, we'll talk about it later. I think all the injuries had just caught up with his brain at that point. His brain went into it. It's kind of like his brain did a restart too, like a computer. The Curad, from day one, Myron began making, to me, meaningful movements.
Okay, Mama, show me what you got. Can you move your arms? Lift them up. That's good. Keep going. Move the other one. Move your right arm. Let me see. Lift it up some more. I saw you. Thank you. Can you move your legs? I see you move your arm. Can you move your legs for me? The legs haven't came back yet.
Or just signs of life. We'll say that. He began making signs of life. And slowly they began taking him down. And the first time I tried to tell the doctor, I was like, I told Myron to move his right arm. It would take 20 seconds or so, but then he could move his right arm. And the doctor came by doing rounds and was like, no, that's just a coincidence. And so then I'm like, okay, this is just in your head, Rochelle. Nobody else is seeing it. I would show videos to the family and they were like, there's no life there. Myron is lifeless. I would play music each day.
We're cleaning on that back. I was asking him, is he in pain anywhere? So I don't know what you're trying to tell me. He was grabbing his heart. I asked him, was it his heart? And I asked him to blink, he blinked. So I asked him, was it his stomach? He didn't blink. So I don't know. So we're gonna go ahead and start with soothing because he already looks too excited.
I could be at the hospital back then for 12 hours a day and then Uber over to the hotel. I would ask the nurses to play these headphones I bought for him. And they would play the Bible at night. So he would listen to the Bible about 8 to 12 hours at night. And then in the day, I would play different things to challenge his mind. I would play familiar sounds and foreign sounds. So I would play Japan drums. He never probably heard that before, but I would play it. I would play Kevin Hart, just comedy songs of his brother. His brother is an artist. I would play, I don't know if I played Martin, I can't remember, just all kind of different things. His girlfriend at the time had sent me a playlist of songs he liked. I would play those, things familiar with him. His best friend, R, we'll call him. He would send me a playlist. I'd be like, tell me anything, send me anything. Send me songs of his too. The first time I played a song of his, there was a tear coming out of this eye. And I was like, Mama, I was supposed to catch a plane the next day to go home because everyone else was giving up. And I'm like, well, his prognosis is the same, so I might as well get back home and finish the house renovations. Played one of his songs and there was a tear came out of his eye. And I canceled the flight, didn't get my money back. I canceled the flight and I decided to stay. They were winging him down from some medicine that his body has an allergic reaction to as well.
too strong of like pain medicine, I think. His birth mother is well known for having difficulties with the same strength of medication. But that tear, that video with the tear showing me he was in there, I was like, I ain't giving up. So I continued to move his arms. He was still in the vegetable state. And I remember a therapist coming by saying, you can do a little therapy with him if you want to. And I remember somebody making it like, oh, that ain't gonna do nothing. And I would still do it. I would do this, we would do this arm, we would do the legs, and his arms were starting to form like this. And my mom would see the videos and be like, I need you to straighten his arm up. And I used to think the same thing like the other people. That ain't gonna do nothing, mama. But I would go by and I would straighten his hand out. When they would try to curl up, as soon as I leave, go get some water downstairs or something, I come back in the room and his arm was starting to form like this again. So I would straighten that hand on out. I'd be like, Mary, you gotta straighten it out. Mama said you can't do that. So I did that every day, and I kept putting the curad in his scalp and brain every single day. Now, the nurses would get mad, not that I was using their curad or the curad for his injuries, his scars and stuff, but because with the stool softener and the curad, he began pooping a lot, like every day. And that's why I said I don't think it was just the curad. The fact that he was also on a stool softener, I think it was removing the lesions completely out of the system. Now, me stating this stuff in this video, it may have to be a second video. I don't know if I want this in my first video, but this is just my opinion and my experience. The curad was expensive. I had a friend who wanted to cure their mom of some things later on. He was like, well, can I use Neosporin? It has Bactrim. As long as, I think it was Bactrim. Is that what was in it? It was, I can't remember. But it was something specific about them. I haven't really told much of this story to anyone outside of the people who understand the biology crazy parts of me that would even try something like this. I know God. If you believe in God, God, the creator of all, is the reason Myron is here today. I'm just sharing our experience, my mom and I's journey with that. We unfortunately did not have any family members come out. Now, during that first phase, he couldn't have any other visitors. So we had to get an exception for me and mommy to switch, but I had more flexibility. Mommy was working at a hospital and I'm a house flipper, right? So I have more time that I'm away or that I could be with him. I had more flexibility in my schedule than she did with hers. So he was like the director over the hospitals. Like, you can make a one-time exception and that's it. So mommy flew home, I flew there, and I remained with him until we were flown on a plane, an expensive plane, to Colorado. And then he began his journey with Kindred Hospital, and then Swedish Hospital, and then Craig Hospital. And it has been a long journey, but now my little brother is walking. He is goofy. He is even driving a little bit. Guess what? Myron's been driving, you guys. My little brother, who's recovering from a semi-truck accident. He's 25.
It's like all the time. Everybody gonna hurt this anymore? Straight like this. Yep.
Cooks some. I am so freaking proud of you, Myron. I am so proud of him. He was in a wheelchair. We would have to like help him move from the bed to the wheelchair, and then we were trying to renovate the house, so we were living in the RV. It was some rough roads. We had no help. That was one of the hardest parts, because all of our family is in St. Louis. And now restrictions began to be uplifted in 21. I think my mom rerouted one of the family's vacations so that they could see him for one day. So mommy rerouted where they were going So I think my aunt and uncle could see him for one day. Several people would tell him they were coming to see him, and for one reason or another, they didn't get a chance to make it. So he was disappointed a lot. A cousin was supposed to buy him some Yeezys if he could walk, and he walking and driving now. So there's been a lot of disappointment. We have been paying for storage for his storage unit for over a year. We finally went there to go get it. It was all empty boxes. One of his family members had gone over to the storage unit and stole all his stuff out while he was in the hospital. I think a lot of people were thinking he wasn't going to make it. It's been a rough journey. It's been a rough road. The insurance payout is $150,000 after medical expenses. Not a lot. You can't buy a house with that. It's been a long road. So just so you know, when you see certain videos of me and mommy very proud of him, you know, he's still relearning to write and type and text and talk. And if you only talk to him for 20 minutes, you probably can't see the brain injury. But if you have a longer conversation with him, then some parts of it will show through. You know, we are still working with that. He goes to therapy twice a week. Now it's all on mama. The past 2 years has been pretty much 100% mom taking care of Myron by herself. I live on the property next door to them in my RV. They live in my house, or they were living in my house since I've been on this road trip. I haven't even covered that part yet. I do love to travel. I took a 60-day cruise last year, or trip around. We'll get into that later too. To Dubai and all these other great places, London. But mom has been taking care of Myron for the last 2 years by herself. I am on the property. If mom needs to go away, if he needs me, he knows to call. You know, in the beginning when he would cook, I'd be like, let me know when you start, let me know when you finish, make sure you turn the oven off. I am here if you need me. And then a couple times I would go over there and check on him and stuff like that. And I still check on him, but not nearly as much time as my mother spends with him. She is superwoman to me and him. I cannot do this video without giving so much thanks to you, mommy. Thank you so much for believing in me. This ain't no Oscar speech. But thank you for believing in me, mama. She has supported my dreams, y'all. That woman is amazing. I love my mama so much. I don't know what I would do without her. No matter what dream I have, she supports it. Let's go move around across the country. Okay. I'm gonna create this vlog and content and whatever. You can do it. She would, even when I had stopped wanting to film, when my truck got stolen and the identity and all of that, mommy would be like, no, you need to still film this. Where are your cameras? She would still try to encourage me to. So I am very grateful for her. Okay. She definitely gets she gets a lot of she's my mentor, my inspiration, my motivation. A lot of my life that I live is for her. That's my heart, y'all. My Mama Deb. You will see her in many of my videos. Her and Myron. They're not allowed to be over here yet. I want to have at least a year or two of trying to grow my platform on my own. I have 48 subscribers. Today is July the 8th. Today is July the 8th. It is 2 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today I have been on a road trip for about 32 days. Yeah, like 32, 33 days. I've done some car camping on this road trip, meaning I have a car air mattress. Getting her set all up. This is going to be my mattress, my bed for a few days. I also have my tent. Now versus the other way as a twin. All right, I am going from sleeping in my truck, going on a date. Which earrings? Probably this one. mattress in the back of my F-150 truck, and we have done that. Today we are at Nobu, so we do low grade and high grade. We have stayed at casinos, New Mexico first, then Arizona, my first time going through that state. We went through California and stayed there for a few weeks. I even got inspired to start school again and finish the rest of those classes that I had mentioned and finish my degree program out. Now we're in Nevada, and in a few days we will be leaving here. I've been here a couple weeks. I will be leaving here going through Utah to get back to Colorado. Just made a whole circle or oval. And Utah, I'm gonna stay at least one night in the car and maybe one night in the hotel, just so I can have had the same experience in each place. This has been mentally recharging for me and resetting, and such a wonderful experience. I don't know all the things that are a part of the next phase of my life and the journey. I don't know what God has planned for me. I do believe in God and aliens, okay? I do feel, this is my opinion, especially for Genesis, that take the word God and angels that we have emotional attachments to, and you replace them with military commander and military crew, and you read it again, Genesis specifically, you see it from a whole different light. That said, I still go to church every single Sunday, y'all. So I think this is a good introduction to who I am, how I think, where my mind is, what I've gone through. Apartments. My mind is itching for a move. I'm trying to sell this house. Hopefully it sells this year or next, and I can begin the next chapter. I think because I changed schools so much, and there's no actual reason. I lived with my grandma for like 1-2 years before she passed, and then back with my mom, and I think I was probably bad. Who knows? When I got apartments, I would get 9-month leases. I wouldn't even get year leases anywhere. If they only did 1-year leases, I didn't take that apartment. So I have always had this bug to move on to the next phase. But I'm hoping my next house I am at for a longer time period. I want to put down some roots somewhere. I do feel like I have a little bit of a travel bug left. So there may be some places we need to explore and experience before I set down some roots. But hopefully setting down some roots within the next 5 years is a part of my journey. But whatever God, the creator of all, whatever you believe is a creator, Big Bang Theory, whatever my life's trajectory or path is meant to be, I'm ready for the journey. If you have made it this far in the video, I thank you so much for watching my content. It won't always be videos like this, but I did want to come and have a sit down moment with you, share a little bit about who I am, why I am this way, a little bit of my quirky side. I can be clumsy and goofy and just me. And I have fear like crazy. And hopefully I continue to get better at that. I have even crossing Arizona and Utah for the first time. I'm now showing, it was nothing. I have had, even on this road trip, this 30-day experience so far, the goal is to get to day 40. But even on this experience, I've had to replace a tire. So I have had things happen on this journey, just in this 32 days.
I left you all the souvenirs.
Don't. Okay, do you want to do this with insurance, or how do you want to?
I'll just cash you out.
I didn't even know you put that in there.
Trying to help you out.
Help me out. I'm watching. You're the one to hit it. Mm-hmm.
You should be doing this, being sober and all.
I had a check engine light come on. It went into limp mode, had to be towed, and then I was able to fix it myself. I see why I chose the name Persevere anyway. The good people at AutoZone let me use their tools. I'm on a major street. I'm gonna take this, I think it's like I forgot, air intake something maybe. And this is the one that I'm gonna have to change. I'm gonna see if I need to torque. I'm sure I have to torque to spec. There we go. Now, there is all kinds of gunk in there. The picture of the ones I see, this is clean. with the gasket, so I'm leaving that one on there. But that's the door. You see how easy that one is to move? Yeah, goes like that. Put that in there. That I've been away from the house. If you want exclusive content of like really the deets about me, videos more like this would be on my Patreon. I do also have an Instagram page that has been up for 1 year. Most of my content will be here. So some of the videos may have been filmed for Instagram, so they may come turned the wrong way or whatever. Just give me time to get all of it back to the right format. My edits will get better and better. I thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Bye.